think we should be live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the
Good
Hylian
day.
Gamescast, episode 157, I believe. Today, we're going to be talking mostly about The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, a little bit of Nintendo news, maybe, our Nintendo Direct predictions for the next Nintendo Direct, and the date that we think we should expect it, and then we'll take some questions from all of you. So yeah, look forward to that. And if you have any news topics that you would like us to discuss or questions that you would like us to answer, you can just leave them in the chat, since there hasn't been too much news the past week. We don't have too much on the list for this one. So yeah, Daniel,
it's a slow news week.
It is. Miyamoto needs to get busy.
Yes, he does.
So Daniel, Capped Burger.
So Jess, me.
Burger of Caps. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Jesse?
How many people might know you?
They might not. No, I'm Daniel. I'm Cap Burgerson, and I make Zelda videos on my channel as well. Mostly about dungeon. I actually have a video coming out on Friday, a dungeon design video. It's a very good time. It's a very good time. Yes. What about you, Jesse? Tell us who you are, even though people here are probably subscribed to you.
Oh, well, I am Jessie, I think, the last time I checked. Although that could have changed by now. Like, I don't stay up to date on current events. For those who don't know, Daniel keeps me locked in his basement, so it's hard for me to tell what's really going on. Sometimes I forget who Daniel is, and then I remember he's the one who throws shoes at me. I haven't posted a video in a long time, but I've been working on one for a while. But I've been helping out with some stuff. So
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Yes.
But I have one
that's like, what, 2 weeks since your last one? The ZOEY translation video?
Yes. And it sucks because I've started like 5 different videos that are all like partially finished.
Oh,
and I just need to, like, as soon as I finish one, I can just go to the next, and then it'll be like day after day next week, or this week probably, of like new video every day. So that'll be great.
Yeah. We got a super chat though, just to kick things off.
610.
Game over, Jesse. Hit continue. So he's just Jesse now.
Is that how it
it's
works?
new Jesse Plus. It's like new game plus Jesse.
Oh, maybe I should get in the pajamas.
Yeah, you should. Wear your pajamas on podcast.
Yeah, so let's start with the Nintendo Direct predictions. What games? We're going to do 5, not a full 10, just 5. So what do you expect at the next Nintendo Direct, and when do you think it will be?
Okay, so to start, I'm still, as I've said many times in the past, I'm sticking to my guns. I still think January at the earliest is probably when we'll see it. Maybe February. That's, I think, the earliest to get like a general Direct. If I'm wrong, that would be lovely. Don't get me wrong. But that's realistically when I expect it. As for what we'll see, I think definitely more Tears of the Kingdom as they sort of start amping things up closer to release. I'm betting there will be like some sort of, like, obviously Pokemon Scarlet and Violet comes out very soon in like a couple weeks, but I think some sort of side Pokemon game, like not like a full new generation, but like a side spin-off or something like that. And Metroid. That's what I'm thinking. Metroid Prime 4 and it's probably going to be like a smaller, kind of less hype release in between the New Year and Tears of the Kingdom. I'm hoping, please God. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. I don't know. How many am I supposed to do? 5, you said? 5 things, or do you want to take turns? You go. Throw something out there.
Yeah, I guess. Well, obviously, Tears of the Kingdom would be next, but I think we'll get Amiibo announced.
Oh,
for Tears of the Kingdom.
For Tears of the Kingdom?
Yes.
Yeah. What kind of Amiibo are you thinking?
New Link. So
New Link
updated
one?
Champion Tunic Link. Or yeah.
Or do you think it'll be like the chitin, like that green outfit?
No, both. That was one of the
Both.
others. Yeah, I was gonna do like 4 Amiibo. So short hair Zelda, zombie Ganon, the Link that we've seen in that statue with him holding his arm. That's kind of like the scene that we've seen in the first trailer. And
that's sweet.
And I think the other one would be Link and the green robe thing and the half corrupted melted master sword.
If they do have a new Link amiibo, please make the hand glow in the dark, please. I want that so bad. We got another super chat from Merrick. Much love from Switzerland. Thank you so much, Merrick. Much appreciated. We appreciate that. Also,
a couple of friends in Switzerland.
Oh, do you? I don't. I have no friends.
Well, you throw shoes and lock them all in your basement, so.
True.
It's not a good way to make friends.
It is.
But I'm not here to judge.
Yeah, and looks like Nintendo Prime's in the chat as well. Hello, Nate. Welcome.
We could have invited
you got to
him
leave
on.
your basement. We could. We still could.
Yeah. Nate, do you want to come on? We have room. You can sit beside me.
Scooch on. Just scooch in.
Yeah. So the other one that I think might happen is
right.
I don't really know. I want to say, like, because we had one of the Guardian that was so elaborate, and like there was even a Bokoblin one.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
of all things, a Bokoblin got an amiibo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the 4 main ones that I was thinking of. I can't think of really anything else unless they go with some of the other side characters that didn't get one, such as I froze. It doesn't look like I'm frozen here.
No, I've got the stream open. Definitely not frozen.
Yeah. So maybe like Cass or someone get.
Dude, a Cass amiibo would be awesome. Yeah, I'm down for that.
That's all I can think of, sadly. Or no. The how I'm stupid. The new sages or champions or whatever.
Yeah, whoever those are.
The descendant people, whatever. They're not all descendants, but they're like
like Riju, Sidon, Yunobo, Eba.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Cass, because we need Cass.
That would be awesome. And we do need Cass. Those would be really cool to sort of go as a. Well, I guess it depends on how much of a role they play in Tears of the Kingdom. We don't know, but if they do, that would be awesome. I would love to see it. Yes.
All right, so you're number 2.
I put I think I had 3 out there already, so you got to catch up now.
Okay. So
while my brain percolates here.
You already took your number 2.
Tears of the Kingdom, and then I said some Pokemon and Metroid.
Okay. See, I think I would like to say some other Zelda stuff, or Tears of the Kingdom stuff, but I think they'll have some of their own stuff for that.
Right.
Like recently they did with Skyward Sword, where it was like, here's the amiibo trailer, here's the update trailer, here's the blah 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 trailer. I don't want to say Metroid. You said Metroid.
Yeah. Sorry. I stole it.
Wait, no, what was that one thing that I seen?
You haven't seen anything.
No. Mario?
What kind of Mario are we talking about?
Like the next main Mario.
Okay. Like a big 3D Mario game?
Mm-hmm.
Like on the scale of Odyssey?
More.
That would be cool. More?
Yeah. Bigger than Odyssey.
Good.
Super Odyssey.
Yes, please.
And?
Okay, here's one. Oh yeah, no, go ahead. And?
Online multiplayer.
Yes.
Not just
But don't make it some weird gimmick. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just because don't make it some weird gimmick like the hide and seek. Make it like proper online multiplayer.
Take your 610, $2 again. It says, can Cass play and fly at the same time? Yes. Yes, he can.
I'm gonna say no, he can't. Because he uses his wings like hands to play. Can you play with your feet? Just because he has feet doesn't mean he can play adequately with them.
I can make noise with my feet.
Think about this. Rito are like a lot of Rito warriors are super skilled archers. They still use their hands.
They can use their individual feathers as fingers, though. As phalanges. Yeah,
but they still need to flap to fly. So they can still gotta flap.
They can
even. You see Rivali, he will fly up. He'll use his feet to just hold his bow, and then he passes it to his hands and shoots with his hands.
I think you're just jealous that you can't do it.
I can't. You're right.
You want to play music with your feet, and everyone keeps telling you no. So
this is true. I can't do it. Thank you for the super chat, though, takers. Appreciate that. Here's a thought. Splatoon 3 DLC gets announced. Something in the same vein as not exactly like, but in the same
have they not
sort of scale as Octo expansion. They've said that. Sorry, I should clarify. They have already announced that there will be DLC, but they haven't shown any of it or anything like that. So like a proper DLC trailer to show it off and get people to pre-order it and stuff.
I like it.
I'd love to see it. I've been playing so much Splatoon lately, so it's
I didn't notice.
Top of mind. Oh, didn't you?
I had a dream the other night that you finished Splatoon 3 and then started playing Splatoon 1. But you know how that goes. Yeah.
I do still play Splatoon 1 sometimes. Actually, every few days I hop on and play a match or two. Just to see if I can. I keep winning. But just to see if I can. And I always, and aside from once, I've always been able to get into a match. It's just wild because that game is 7 years old.
Yeah. Okay, does it count?
Yeah.
For my next one, if I say the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom DLC packs are announced.
Do you think they'll announce them before the game really? Oh, actually, no, they did for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
so
I think it'll be the same as with Breath of the Wild. And I think they did for Age of Clams as well, to where it's like you got that weird spoon ladle thing.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. Fair. Just DLC announcement. Maybe pre-orders open.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It'll just be the DLC Direct.
I think it'll be more DLC pre-order bonuses, like how you would get the shirt and some other small things.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll get more than Breath of the Wild gave you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I guess that's it for now.
That's it. Okay. Okay. Fair.
Because I was going to say something else, but I think they'll wait for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where are we at to recap? I think we've got one more each, right?
And no, I don't want to make that prediction.
Okay. So we're one more each for predictions?
I think I have 2.
You have 2 more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you
right.
did 3, and then I did 2, and then you did 1. Then I did 1.
Okay. So you go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead with one.
You're putting a lot of pressure on me here.
I'm sorry.
I think... What was that one game?
Oh, you know that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What was that one game?
I'm trying to think. Oh, my mind's going blank. Jeez. I'll just say for now, until I can rethink of it, more Animal Crossing DLC.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though they said that was going to be their last large-scale DLC when they announced the last one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm thinking that they're kind of like easing out of supporting the game.
I think
like they're still going to support like online play and stuff, but they haven't been adding new stuff like all year.
I'm still saying it.
All right, fair enough.
I know absolutely nothing about anything with Animal Crossing except that you have to build a tent at the very beginning.
That's true.
And that's what I'm basing my information on.
Okay.
And it'll be free DLC.
Well, so not a big one like the what's it called? The Happy Home Paradise one was like a big paid DLC, so not like that big, but just like a smaller free DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or like costumes of different Nintendo characters.
Okay. So here's a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm gonna double check that this hasn't already happened before I say it and embarrass myself. Okay, it has actually. So, to change that a little bit, I'm gonna just tinker that. So you know how, and this is not actually something I want to happen. It's just something I could see happening or could happen. Resident Evil 4 remake is happening, right? That's coming out. A Switch version gets announced, but it'll come out later than the rest, and it's cloud version. That's my last one, I guess. And I kind of hope that's not the case, but you know, it could happen.
That's always my biggest fear, is just more cloud stuff.
More cloud stuff. Yeah. Resident Evil 4 remake cloud version. And I can already hear people being like, Nintendo wouldn't do that. First of all, they already did with like all the other recent Resident Evil games. And Resident Evil 4 was originally a GameCube exclusive. So, you know, they have a history with the series.
All right.
But, yeah.
I thought of
cloud version. Not the Zack version. Sorry.
Mario Rabbids DLC.
All right. That's a good one.
Is that my fifth? I think that's my fifth.
I think so. I think that's it for both of us. I think
the easy answer is just to say February, but let me look at Nintendo Direct on Wikipedia to see did they have one at the end of the year last year? I think we'll get the Zelda thing at the Game Awards this year. But I'm always hopeful for that. And I'm always very disappointed by the Game Awards. It's a tradition. Right. I would, if I didn't get my hopes up for the Game Awards, then I feel like something bad would happen. It would be like breaking tradition.
Oh yeah. I'm still not sure if I'm going to or want to watch the Game Awards at all this year. I definitely am not going to stream it though, because like I got like 5 copyright claims last time. And I was just like, I kept like, you know, when you get a claim and it gives you a few options, it's like, well, you can mute that segment, or you can like trim out that segment, or you can just leave it and you won't get monetized. Right. And so I kept just trimming out the segment, and then I was like, I've butchered this stream. Like there's nothing left. So I'm not doing that again. No.
Okay, so there seems to be a Nintendo Direct every December, but it's for indie games. A couple of years ago, it was they had 3 indie games, and then like a few days later, it was Smash Bros. DLC, and then a few days later, it was the Nintendo World reveal. And then there was some other stuff the year before that. So they've had 1 or 2 small directs in December. One year that showed September as well. Or no, not September, sorry, November. But I don't think we'll get anything this year. I think it'll be February. But I think January will be... This has nothing to do with the Nintendo Direct, because they don't talk about this stuff on Nintendo Directs, but I think January will be the first Tears of the Kingdom statue from First 4 Figures. Oh.
Have they even finished with all the Breath of the Wild ones? I keep seeing ads for the 𝗵𝗃𝗃 one.
No, but they don't... The
last one?
They, like the Daruk one's the next one after 𝗵𝗃𝗃, and that'll be like February. But...
Right. The pace at which they've rolled those out is not very fast. Well, but I don't know what the production. I don't know what like goes into production for these things, or how long those things take, or so you know. I couldn't say.
Yeah. So during
I'm not in a position to criticize.
During the Champion series, they had the Shield release. There's just like the Hylian Shield, and then they. Like last month, they announced a really expensive one. It's like Link on Epona from Breath of the Wild. And so they've announced other Breath of the Wild or whatever statues while the series going on. But I think the Tears of the Kingdom Link, which will be the same Nintendo Live statue. And That'll be January with Daruk, possibly February.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can see it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're not like, they don't have to like do it in order of like, they're not forced to do anything like that. So I could see it. And that'd be cool. Although they're going to be expensive. Yeah. That's the downside.
And that's also the other thing.
Right.
You mentioned the 𝗏𝗏𝗃, which was one of the news pieces. There is a new 𝗏𝗏𝗃 statue that pre-orders opened today, I think. November 1st. Yeah, today.
All right.
Creating, it's 𝗏𝗏𝗃. I think it's the same as her amiibo.
It is.
It's really detailed. It's really nice.
It does look really good. Like the shield especially. I know that's a weird detail, but the shield especially looks like really good. So, yeah.
Let's see here if I can do this. Ooh, I don't like all the clicky. Sorry, guys. So while I'm doing this, Daniel, do you want to talk about the image thing that the
what
sent us on Twitter?
Oh, I thought we were going to save that for a mailbag, to be honest. But
okay. Yeah, we can
bring
do
it
that.
up. All right, whatever you want.
Well, there wasn't really that much news today. That's why.
No.
Yeah.
Slow news week.
Okay, before we get to the mailbag, giving everyone in the chat, we're about to start the mailbag. So if you have any questions that you want us to answer, you can post them in the chat. But, Daniel.
Jessie.
Do you have any new ideas or theories about Tears of the Kingdom? Is there anything that you have conjured up in your rock hard brain?
Honestly, not really. I have not been giving it much thought because I'm sort of in this passive like wait and see mode right now. Just like trying to wait and see what news breaks or what comes out. It has been interesting seeing people sort of overthink some details or things like that. And we're all hungry for news, like we all are. But there's like, if you recall, like last week, someone was like talking about like, oh, what is this thing, the camera shaking? And they asked us about that, and I was, and even though I was like, well, it's nothing. It's like it's literally nothing, but people are really picking apart every detail. They're really, and that's, I do that too. But it has been interesting to see what kind of things people are digging up, like to try and like make connections to things and like to previous games, you know. So yeah, it's been fun, but I'm definitely kind of in a wait and see mode myself at the moment. So I haven't made any theories or anything like that about it. So, but we did get this question on Twitter from Greek Ancient Searcher, who said, "Hello, I hope you're doing all right. I was wondering if the symbols on the tail of the mech Loftwing, that's like the giant bird glider that we saw in the trailer, are similar to the ZOEY text your team translated. One detail is that it has 8 feathers, and the first, referring to the one on the farthest right, is green, pointing that maybe Link has completed 1/8 of the dungeons or quests, ? So I don't think the green lighting has anything to do with anything. I think that's literally just lighting, like it's coming from somewhere else off screen or out of frame of the picture that they posted and shining onto. I don't think the feather itself is glowing green, just from the look of it. But the thing is that the symbols on the tail that they're asking about, it's really hard. It's like so small, and so you have to zoom in, but then you zoom in and it's like really pixelated because the trailer's not great quality, or it's only 1080p. You can only zoom in so much and get so much detail. But it just looks like sort of swirling patterns. It doesn't look like there's any, or I couldn't see any like actual writing. I don't know. But Jessie, I have not been involved in the translation process at all myself. So maybe you have more insights that I do not have.
No, I haven't. I've been so busy on other stuff. I haven't really asked too much for updates on all of that yet. But something I noticed on. I was going to save this.
Oh, you know
what?
So you were playing the trailer on screen?
Yes.
The freeze frame that they like did. There's like green light. It's actually from the logo. It's like there's like green light shining onto the thing, you know, and it's like from the logo. But I think it's just it's just a lighting thing. Anyways, please go on. Please go on. Please.
So this isn't a script. I don't have the images to where I can put them on screen. But so we know there's the updated champion tunic. It has the new gear on it, right?
Yeah.
Well, there are other updated versions of the champion tunic as well, because in the first trailer where Link's walking through the cave and we look at his gauntlet, it's like it looks very basic and bland. I would have pictures, everyone, I'm sorry. Maybe I should go find the images real quick if I can while I'm talking, or maybe while we're answering questions I'll go through the pictures and get them out or whatever. But if you look at the first trailer, his gauntlet, they look kind of bland, and it has like either a triangle or a triforce. So on the top of it, and then on the bottom, it's like a normal. It just looks like a weird line thing, and then most of it's kind of blank. And on the new ones, let me see here.
Right, there's more detail. There's like the Hylian crest on the gauntlets.
But I feel like there was an image, or there's something I was looking at to where it wasn't just the gauntlet that was new, but there was like like around the white line that goes around the bottom of the arm or the sleeve was also a little bit different.
But I think what that comes down to is they're just like tweaking the design throughout development. I think that's what that is, because if you look at that first trailer from 2019, the gloves, the gauntlets, are the exact same model as the Hylian tunics gauntlets from Breath of the Wild. So they were just like literally reused that model of the glove and put it with the champion's tunic. And now it's like a different one that's new, right? But then if you think of like Breath of the Wild in 2014, when they first showed the first Zelda Wii U trailer, his tunic had like a different design on it than what was shown later and what we ended up getting in the game. And it didn't mean that both were in the game. It's just they like updated the design throughout development until there was one like firm one that they kind of established. So that's kind of how I read into it, was like, okay, yeah, it's different between these two trailers, but they probably just tweaked the design a bit, you know, over the past few years. That's how I interpreted it. Of course, like I could be wrong. There could be more customization options, because customization options are great, but fair. You disagree. Elaborate.
I think
elaborate.
So we see like it has on one of the trailers, it has like a normal triangle. Or it's hard to tell if it's a triangle or a triforce. Honestly, it's probably a triforce. And it has the what's it called? the empty holder thing that's like wrapped around it with like the belt in the first trailer. It's like an empty pouch thing that he has wrapped around the top of his gauntlet. And there's nothing really there in the middle, but maybe I can put this in for an image.
Okay. Sure.
If I can... Yeah, I think this is it. Okay. Okay, so that is way too big. Let me put that down here.
Right, so he's got the sort of like the guard on his arm.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone.
Yeah, so this is new. This is the newest design.
Yeah, and this is like the most detailed as well.
So what's interesting is that the design of this gauntlet, the texture was changed to like a leather texture. But the design is actually the same as the soldier's gauntlets, which is like the like knight armor from Breath of the Wild. So like all the patterns are the same, but it's instead of like that metal, it's leather, which is an interesting thing to note.
Yeah, and it has a. I feel like there was one that I seen that, like this has it's a diamond shape for the head of the Loftwing symbol. In one of the other trailers, I think I seen it where it was just the actual normal Loftwing with the Triforce symbol, or like the triangle symbol instead of a diamond. And a couple of the times when we see him, when he already has the, like his arms messed up and he has the weird bracelet thing, armlet thing going up it. There are a few times where he has that, but then he also has a gauntlet going over top of it. Which I thought was interesting. So,
yeah,
if these are all supposed to be different gauntlets, then it seems like maybe there will be more customization to where like you have your primary, like the shirt or whatever, and then your hat or helmet, and then your legs, and then you can change like secondary features on it. Sort of like Ocarina of Time, you could wear any of the tunics, but you could also wear any of the boots.
Right.
It didn't automatically change your boots to like Zora boots whenever you switch to the Zora tunic. Yeah.
Not that there are Zora boots, but interesting. Okay. See, the thing is, like, in old trailers, we see him having gloves on both hands when he's in the champion's tunic. But in the newest trailer, we see he's only ever got the glove on the one hand. And so part of me thought that maybe, or I was thinking that like maybe they changed it so that at that point in the game, once you have this arm thing attached to you, you can't put a glove on that hand because they want you to see like whatever symbol or whatever rune you've got active.
No, it has the hole cut out in the glove that he's wearing.
He just cuts a hole in his glove.
Yeah, it's weird, but yeah, it's the. Hold on 1 second. Keep.
Like, I'm not talking about like the bracelet.
No. I'll be right back though.
Okay. All right. He's just gonna leave. I'm gonna read some comments in the chat here while Jessie ditches me. Let's see. Joseph says, in the clip of Link holding the broken sword, there's a dragon on the sleeve of his green tunic. The art style is the same as the beasts on the blue champion's clothes. What does this mean? Everything. Well, I will say we spotted in the background a dragon in the latest trailer. So it could be nothing. Like they also, like the dragon also reminded me of like the Traveler's Shield.
Sorry about that.
But I also think that there could be just more story significance to dragons in this game, because we see dragons in the logo. We see it on the green, not tunic, the green like clothes, that sort of thing. So thought there. That is a good catch, though, Joseph. I was just reading some of the chat while you were stepping away. Welcome back, though.
Thank you. It feels like it's been forever since I've been here.
I know. I missed you so much. So, so the symbol on his gauntlet, or on his power arm, is what I'm just going to call it. His spirit hand thing. In that old trailer from like last year, he still wears like gloves over top of the arm, even though he's got the power arm thing. But then in the newest trailer, when he's in the champion's tunic, he's not wearing any gauntlets on that arm, right? So my thought was they wanted, I don't know, to make it more distinct or make it stand out more. So they're just like, okay, take the gloves off that whole arm. You know what I'm saying? That was my thought.
So if you can see in the image now, you can see he has a glove over it. And I know it's covering up our video and stuff, but that's just like a zoom in where you can see. And there's a couple of others where you can see he's like wearing a gauntlet over top of it, and it has the little hole for the thing. And you said it was in the new trailer as well?
In the newest trailer, he has no glove or sleeve on that arm whatsoever. It's just the spirit arm thing. You know?
Is it the what about the one where he's holding the... No, that one's... There's a few scenes where I've seen that he has the glove over top of the other thing, and it's like a custom designed gauntlet specifically for the bracelet. And my thoughts on all of this was that we're like maybe he has the gauntlets from...
Actually, you're right. What? Sorry, I pulled up the latest trailer, and when he's running at the camera, you can see it's sort of a mix. So he's got the bracer on his arm, like the guard, but no glove part on that hand. And so it's just that. So I think that's the same as what you just showed here. That circle part isn't a cutout in the glove. That is the hand. So if you go back to, like, for example, the statue that was at the Nintendo Live show, you'll see that has that same circle design. That's just part of like the
I know that, but the gauntlet that he has the cutout, so you can see, like, it's like a custom gauntlet for his bracer to go over top of it.
But what I'm saying is that it is just the bracer that you're seeing, not a glove over top of it. Like, there's no cutout. It's just that's just the circle part. It's hard to tell because when you zoom in, you only get so many pixels. You know what I'm saying? so it's hard to tell, but from what it seems to me, you get a good look at it in the latest trailer when there's the shot of Link running towards the camera, and we're all focusing on the vials on his hip. But if you stop it like right at 49 seconds, you can see his hand pretty nicely there as well.
So,
also, just while your brain is going there, we got a super chat from Taker610. Thank you for the super chat. So is the arm ZOEY related or Gerudo heroin? Thank you for the super chat. Great question. I am sticking to the ZOEY guns personally, but what do you think, Jessie?
I don't. Yeah, the ZOEY, or whatever this new race thing is, Sky People, or no.
Cool.
Yeah, ZOEY. I guess like everyone's just default to calling them the ZOEY.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. I don't think it has much to do with the Gerudo, but depending on if the ZOEY turn out to be who some people think they are, then it might also have a little bit to do with Gerudo as well.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Yeah.
Magic arm.
Sounded weird.
No, I got you though. I understand.
Cool. I'm on a mission to hunt for the scene where it like showed a good image of it.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm willing to have my mind changed if you can show it to me.
Okay.
So.
Is there a
the time reversing sort of mechanic scene that I don't see it. I don't see what you're seeing in that one. But sorry, question. You want to find a question?
No. Is there any on the Discord?
I'll just pull it up here. Discord. So in the Discord, we have a Zelda mailbag channel where people ask Zelda's questions. Zelda questions. And this is one from 𝗏𝗵𝗲. What do you guys think of the gold leaves being dragged by the wind in the official artwork of Tears of the Kingdom? I don't think it means anything, actually. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I think it's just leaves. And they're gold. Because like if you see on the Sky Islands, all the leaves on like all those Sky Islands are like yellow, right? They're like autumn leaves. So I really think that's all it is.
Repeat.
The question was
repeat the first part of the question.
The leaves in the Sky Islands. So the question was, what do you think of the gold leaves being dragged by the wind in the official artwork for Tears of the Kingdom?
Oh yeah, I think that's just like it's up in the sky. It's really windy, and all the trees just happen to have golden leaves.
Yeah, I really think that one is that one's a nothing. I'm sorry, 𝗏𝗵𝗲. Not to be a downer. There's a question from Matt Fry. Do you think Koroks will make another appearance in Tears of the Kingdom? Yes, I do, but I don't think we're gonna have to collect Korok seeds again. I think that's something they're gonna leave in Breath of the Wild. What do you think, Jessie?
I don't think we'll have to collect Korok seeds. I think what would they replace it with? Maybe
Gold leaf.
𝗏 is bald, and we have to find 900 feathers.
Oh no!
No,
𝗏, no.
I would like to. What could there be? Like, A Link Between Worlds had the octopus 𝗵𝗲 things. Twilight Princess had the bugs.
𝗙𝗏𝗃, gold 𝗙𝗏𝗃. Actually, that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind. I think it'd be cool to just have something new and original, though. To be honest. No more gold poops for me, please.
Maybe I would like if each area has so the glass vial thing we see hanging from his hip, just like whenever you get the tears or whatever in Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess, and you have to like go around to the different areas in the sky or whatever, and as you collect each of the things, it adds on to the thing that's like hanging from his hip, and then he uses that to turn on the robot that then activates the portal for you to go through or whatever with the gate thing. I think something like that would be interesting. And then 8 wouldn't be so many, like when you had to find all the Twilight bugs or all the goddess. No, they're not goddess tears.
The Tears of Light in.
No, the Skyward Sword in the Siren Realm or whatever.
I think they were also called Tears of Light.
Oh, okay.
No, or maybe they were goddess tears.
So not as many as that, but I think 8 would be enough to where people would be like, okay, this is doable.
Right. Yeah, they were goddess tiers.
Or if we could find Minish.
Minish would be cool. But do you just collect them? So you get Link's got a pocket full of Minish?
Give us Kinstones again.
Put them in the... No! Not the Kinstones! Oh, no. Or the secret seashells from Link's Awakening. And those were in Minish Cap, too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Jessie.
Yes.
You dig up another question, and I'm going to BRB to go, unless you need to take a little break as well. But
no,
I need to.
Good. I got this.
All right, then you do that, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Next question. How do you think the map will be revealed in Tears of the Kingdom? The question arose because of the fact that the towers are back in the ground. One idea from Monster Maze was that you can do this with Zonai towers. What do you think? Will there be 2 map versions in the new game, in the sense that there will be the pre-Awakened Ganon map and the Malice released Risen Land in the Sky? Let us know what you guys think. If you think there will be 2 different actual maps. I think So I don't think the Zonai towers are going to be used similar to the Sheikah towers. The concept book, or Creating a Champion, talks about them quite differently than the Sheikah towers. The reason the Sheikah towers give you a map is because they were built specifically for that purpose in detecting Ganon and everything. The Zonai towers, they left it a bit more vague or mysterious. I think they'll have more to do with, if they are on the ground and they come up, I think they'll have more to do with getting back and forth to the sky or whatever. Is Zelda... Okay, Dinky King. Is Zelda dead? Because I thought 100 years had passed, so wouldn't she dead in Tears of the Kingdom? No. She was sealed. She was trying to seal Ganon during that 100 years. Between the past of Breath of the Wild, where Link is sleeping in the Chamber of Resurrection. So just like Link, they both are kind of preserved during that time, during that 100 years, and Tears of the Kingdom happens like right after Breath of the Wild, so it's not another 100 years, it's like a few moments after. Maybe like a week or something like that. Kilton will reveal his identity as Tingle. And no, Natsu, my theory on Kilton was that so Kilton is a Happy Mask salesman, but not the Happy Mask salesman. So I liked the idea of him being revealed as being the Happy Mask salesman. They didn't exactly spell out how Zelda did not age. We just know she essentially was in stasis like Link. Yeah, well, that's how she always does. If you, like in Skyward Sword, she's sealed for 1,000 years or something like that, and she doesn't age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we see her at the end of Breath of the Wild, so there's no reason to think that 100-year gap would mean she's dead in Tears of the Kingdom, because that 100 years already happened, and she wasn't dead at the end of Breath of the Wild. She didn't age. So yeah, some sort of sealing stasis thing.
Oh, the
Yes.
question from the mailbag that I got was, will there be two map? This is from Wardy and Keeper of Light.
Okay.
They both kind of go together. An interesting question I would like to ask you guys is, how do you think the map will be revealed in Tears of the Kingdom? The question arose because of the fact that the towers are back in the ground. One idea from Monster Maze was that you can do this with the ZOEY towers. What do you think? And then Keeper of Light said, I watched the two Tears of the... No, wait. That's a new question. Wardy says, will there be two map versions in the new game, in the sense that there will be a pre-awakened Ganon map and the Malice released Risen Land in the Sky map? So I said that I don't think... So people know about the ZOEY towers because of the Creating a Champion book, but the Creating a Champion book doesn't say anything about them being used for a map or anything like that. They're kind of vague on it. They're like, oh, these were built and put all around Hyrule for a mysterious reason, and there's like a weird elevator thing that goes to the top in some of the concept art. But it tells us that the Sheikah towers were purposefully built to like detect everything in the area, and like if Ganon is like if it senses Ganon's presence in the area or whatever. And it feeds to the Sheikah slates. And the ZOEY towers wouldn't, unless there's like a new tablet that Link gets. I don't think they would really do that.
Yeah, they might have more to do with traversal, or even just like hiding like treasure chests on top of them, or just using them to like climb to get vantage points, or be able to get higher up or like closer to Sky Islands or something.
Yeah, that I think if there are ZOEY towers similar to the ones that we see in the actual Creating a Champion book, then they'll be used to like kind of ascend to like a point in the sky above it.
That makes sense.
Or they'll be used to warp around too, or something.
That makes sense, yeah.
But not a
another
map.
thought
I think the map
too.
would be something else.
Yeah, as far as getting the map itself goes, they might just do like a fog of war approach, where it's like the map just fills in as you explore, like in whatever area you've explored in. A lot of games do that. It's kind of a less interesting way of doing it, though, if you ask me. I really hope they kind of don't, because
or he could like have a hologram come out of his hand.
That's true. You could start with the full map of Hyrule and then like, I don't know. The thing is, like, I kind of want to see a different look to the map, because Link clearly doesn't have the Sheikah slate, so it can't be like the map on the slate like it was in Breath of the Wild. So it's got to be like, I want them to go like a full, like, I don't know, parchmenty sort of aesthetic with it if they can. I think that'd be cool. I don't know. Hologram on like coming out of the hand sounds cool, but I was thinking about, did you ever play Jedi Fallen Order?
I did.
He did. Good game. Really great game. But they had the sort of holographic map that like your droid projected. And in some areas, for the most part, it was okay. But in some areas, the 3D holographic map was actually kind of bad. Like, it actually made things kind of confusing, or it was hard to get a sense of the layout of things through that. Because when there was like different levels, like say there was like a building that has like 2 floors, they just like kind of overlap, and then it's confusing to move around. Metroid Prime, for example, has a similar issue. So if they go that route, I kind of want them to make sure that it's understandability should come before level of detail. Do you know what I mean? Just a thought. The 4 Divine Beasts are also kind of like that 3D holographic sort of map models, and I don't find those maps very useful either.
To say that Link does not have a gauntlet over top of the bracer?
I said I don't see it, but I'm ready to have my mind changed if you can show me the image.
Okay.
Where he's got it, you know.
Let me go to wherever it would have saved the image at.
Okay. All right. All right. I don't know. Where did it post, Jesse?
I got it.
And Natsu has a point. The Hyrule Castle map did also kind of just straight up suck. Yes, also true. All right.
See this? Like it doesn't go over his hand and his fingers, but it covers his arm and wrist.
So, yeah, that's what I was saying before about like the guard is there on his arm, but then there's no glove on his actual hand.
Okay.
So I think we might have accidentally been arguing the same point. Just maybe. But then you see on the actual hand, there's like it looks almost bronzy, but like the gold bracelet stuff on his hand. And you can see the same thing in the latest trailer, in the shot where he's running towards the camera. If you stop at a good point to like be able to see his hand, it's the same thing. He's got the guard on his arm, but then no glove on his actual hand. Because like Link's gauntlets come in two parts. There's the glove and then the bracelet, like the guard on his arm. Right? And you can see that in a good demonstration, like Skyward Sword, for example. He's got the actual gloves on both hands, but the guard is only on one arm, right? In Breath of the Wild, it's a bit different, but yeah, what it looks like is he's got the two guards, but only the one glove. So the kind of the inverse of that, not the website inverse, the concept of inverse. So yeah. Also, hey, 𝗵𝗃 in the chat. Welcome, friend. So yeah, sounds like we had a slight miscommunication here. It sounds like we were actually arguing the same point.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I still feel like I seen one where he had like a glove, like a full gauntlet on that had I don't know. I'll keep looking for it.
All right. Yeah. And keep in mind, even if it was in an old trailer, that doesn't mean it'll be in the game, right? Because things change.
Because like I mentioned that we could be getting upgraded gauntlets or whatever. Like you start out with the basic ones, but then because Link saves Hyrule, instead of getting the ones or starting with the ones that you had from Breath of the Wild, Link's given ones that has the actual symbol or whatever to properly say like his rank or status in as a Hylian knight or whatever.
And like Emilio in the chat mentions the statue, which we had on screen earlier in the stream, but that's a good, like you can totally see it in that. You get a very good look at his gloves and his arm and everything. So at least like as far as that statue goes, there's definitely nothing on his arm. And that's
not in that statue. No.
Yeah,
I think that statue is supposed to be the scene from when they're in the cave and we see him like doing that for what I presume is the first time.
Maybe.
Or maybe that's just the pose that he always does when he uses that ability.
Yeah, like some ability he's using. Yeah.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah. Next question.
Next question. Do you have one already? It's already set up here.
I do not, but there was the new
one.
Right,
there's one in the Discord.
Yes.
Keeper of Light asked, I watched 2 Tears of the Kingdom trailers, E3 2021 and the one from this year. And in both you can see a big temple, or at least it's like a big sort of tower building in the sky. They have an image if you want it, Jesse, to put a visual aid, if you will. That looks a bit like Japanese architecture, only the 2 temples don't seem to be the same, because in the latest trailer, above directly an island is to be seen. Do you think there are more of them? Maybe 7 pieces even? Even the roof of the 2 temples is different. One is flat and one has gradations. So a couple thoughts. Again, in the newest trailer, there just seems to be more sky islands in general. So there being another island in proximity. It could be an angle and one is closer and not actually directly above it, but like closer up. It could be a trick of the angle, or it could be that they've just, again, like things change throughout development. They could have just added it, right? Like just because we see something in an old trailer and then it's different in the new trailer, it might be that they've changed it, or it might be that they have added more to it or something, right? The roof might also be the same thing, or it might be that there's a draw distance thing, and there's in one of them they're closer, so you can see more detail than the other. But it could be two completely different buildings that have just a very similar architectural style. It is hard to say. It is hard to say, because like even like my go-to example is always like in the early trailers for like Twilight Princess, there's stuff that ends up like in the final game, but is like slightly different than how it looked in those trailers. You know what I mean? Like there's a scene of Wolf Link at Hyrule Castle, and it's just like a little different than how it is in the final game, but it's still the same like scenario. Or you see when Wolf Link first transforms, or when Link first transforms into a wolf in the early trailer, it's like plays out differently. He's already got the green tunic, and he has like the lantern and stuff. And so it's like the same scene, but it plays out just a little differently, because throughout development, they just like they're constantly tweaking and changing things, right? So yeah, that's part of why like I'm always hesitant to like definitively say anything based off of comparing an old trailer to a new one, because it's like there's clearly so much more added to the game between those two trailers. They've been like working their asses off, for lack of better words. So I don't know. It's hard for me to just be like, yeah, these are two buildings and they're different, or yeah, these are two of the same. It's the same building. Like I couldn't definitively say either way personally. That's people are going to be like, this guy's a cop-out answer. He never has a definitive answer for anything, and that's because nobody knows. So nobody does. If they say they have a definitive answer, they're lying. So yes, Jesse, what are your thoughts though? I've rambled. Tell us your thoughts. Good thoughts. Good thoughts. Like, yeah, they could have added more detail to the same building, right?
I think
and so, you know, or they could be two different buildings.
I think it is the same building, but I also like some people think it's like an actual temple thing. But when I zoomed in on it for one of my videos, you can see like the pillars that you see, like the segments going across it. Like the inside's hollow.
Right.
Like it's not like a solid wall going all the way up with the thing. Like it, yeah. So like when you go inside of it, all the way up, you can still see outside. I don't know if it's still there because it changes all the time, or the map does. But for those that played Fortnite in like season 2 or 3 or whatever, there were buildings in that game that matched the same style of building.
You know what it kind of reminds me of, Jesse, is like in Seattle. I don't live in Seattle, by the way, but I've been there. But in Seattle, there's the stadium that's there has sort of a similar design. Of course, the building in Tears of the Kingdom is like much taller, but like there's the stadium and it's got the sort of like similar structure, but then of course it's like open in the middle, right? That's what it reminds me of. But so maybe it is some kind of stadium or coliseum or something like that. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Please go on. Please say more.
But Doodle Nat,
say more.
This one's easy. Says, where do you all think the wall carvings are? Do you think they might be near where the Ganon paintings are that we saw in the first trailer? I think they are in the same cave that we see them exploring, because when we see the carvings from the new trailer, we see like a light and like little red flares and stuff going over them, which is coming off of their torches, and it gives that same glowy effect. And then we see the no, I guess that wouldn't be it. I was gonna say something about the malice, but that's not it. But yeah, I think the fire that we see is literally the same torches from Link and Zelda, just in a different room, looking at the carvings on their way to old Ganon.
I thought the opposite. I think it's in like a sky temple or something like that, because the sort of, these are like carvings, like they're in the wall. They have like, It's not like literal in the game geometry, but it's meant to be like proper geometry, like carved into the wall. Whereas in the previous one, it was like more like cave drawings, and that the art is like a little different looking. So, and also like it's like a different. It seems like not like a cave, like the side of a cave wall, but like the wall of a building. Like it seems too deliberately like that. I don't know. Again, it could actually be, and they've just changed it since 2019. But the vibe I got was that this was like some kind of sacred place, some kind of sacred like sky temple. That's just my first assumption. But an interesting note is like you mentioned like the lighting and like the embers from like their torches. But there's also this sort of like shrouded effect around the borders of it when it's panning on those, which kind of makes me think that there's going to be like a cutscene where there's like some narration from an important NPC telling us some lore stuff.
Will
Do you know what I mean?
𝗵𝗲 again?
Maybe. I don't think it'd be 𝗵𝗲 here.
You don't think it'd be 𝗵𝗲 doing the voice?
I mean, maybe, but I don't know.
Maybe it's the new character.
Maybe. Yeah, I want to say new character, but I don't know. I have no idea. But there's even like seams, which makes me think like brick. You know, there's like the lines in the wall that look like seams in the wall. But yeah, I think I think it's going to be like a lore cutscene where sort of like the one with 𝗵𝗲 with the tapestry, same idea, but something new as well.
Nice.
I don't know. Again, we're solely just speculating. No, we have no insider knowledge on this subject. So,
you can take this one from 𝗏𝗏 in the chat.
In the chat,
Is Age of Clams canon?
Is Age of Calamity canon? I think it's irrelevant if it is or not. It doesn't matter. Because if it's not canon, then it has no impact on future games or anything like that. And it's a nice little fun side story. And if it is canon, then it's in a split timeline anyways, and therefore will have no bearing on Tears of the Kingdom or future mainline Zelda games anyways. So it's irrelevant. But personally, I view it as canon, but again, split timeline sort of deal. Much in the same way as you could ask if, while playing Twilight Princess, if Wind Waker is canon, right? It's like, yes, but like it's a split timeline, so it doesn't actually impact Twilight Princess in any significant way.
Do you remember last year when I was rambling on to you about the development of Age of Clams, and I was finding those interviews, and it was basically Aonuma, or no, it was Fujibayashi. Basically told the team that worked on Age of Clams to go and play Breath of the Wild to come up with their ideas, instead of like them directly helping them on it and come up with story and stuff. They're like, well, just play Breath of the Wild and like come up with your own stuff or whatever. And it's like, oh, that makes me think like since they didn't put too much effort into it, that they didn't, yeah, not that they didn't put too much effort into it, but
they put effort for sure.
Yeah, it was just the interview or the quote that I'm referring to. It just made it seem like he was clearly prioritizing either Breath of the Wild DLC at the time or Tears of the Kingdom story,
right?
As opposed to, yeah, like he just wrote out a rough draft of key events to happen in Age of Clams, and it was like, okay, this is it. Just do whatever you want with, the other stuff.
Even still, though, like things like the existence of 𝗏𝗏, someone brought up in the chat, or 𝗏𝗏 brought up, is like, again, it's because of the split timeline. We know that Zelda, even though she built 𝗏𝗏 at like age 4 or whatever, forgot about our baby egg, everyone's favorite egg. And so he goes back in time and then causes the said timeline split. So even still, even if he existed, Zelda would have no memory of him. He has no bearing on the story of Tears of the Kingdom because it follows up after the end of Breath of the Wild. It's it's like one of those things where it's like super cool. It's a great self-contained story, but all of his actions have branched into a different timeline, and so it's like it is like the ending of Ocarina of Time in that way. Like it's that timeline split. It's like Breath of the Wild is the Wind Waker, in which the world carried on from there, whereas at the end of Ocarina of Time, when he goes back, he prevents that future from happening, or so he thinks, but it's actually a timeline split. And so then Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess occur instead. Same idea. So it's still within like mechanics and the established canon of the series, like, but yeah, because he's just fully it's fully self-contained at the same time. So I like the game a lot, though. I think it's very fun. I put a good 100 hours into it plus. So
it is a great game,
yeah.
But the way that I've came to look at it is even before the timeline starts being changed, there are a bunch of stuff from cutscenes and everything in Age of Clams that doesn't really seem like it should have been able to have happened that way in the actual Breath of the Wild past. So it kind of plays with a different continuity without
I agree. And
the time travel.
The Master Sword is the big one for me. In that, in the established backstory of Breath of the Wild, Link had independently found and extracted the Master Sword years before the Calamity. And he had the Master Sword already for years before the Calamity. Whereas in Age of Calamity, he gets it through that story, right? So that's a big continuity error there, right? So yeah. Also, like, the champions assembling is different in Breath of the Wild's backstory, like as we see through the Champions Ballad cutscenes. That all plays out differently than it does in Age of Calamity. Even, again, like, it would be before the actual timeline or time travel shenanigans occur. So there are definitely issues with it. But at the same time, because it's so self-contained, I am willing to look past those and just enjoy the game for what it is. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's just me. That's but there are definitely continuity issues there. So yeah.
Daniel.
Jessie.
You have a video that perfectly explains this question from Shelly.
Okay. Is it in the chat here? Yeah.
It's in the chat.
Is this one? When do you think they will officially announce which timeline the Breath of the Wild games are part of? Or we have to figure it out and they tell us in 5 years? Well, I have my belief, which is the Dragon Break theory, which is the timeline convergence. But if I had to choose only one, like if Nintendo was like, it's not that, and that's off the table, I would say child timeline, actually. But there is strong evidence for all timelines, and so I think that convergence is what makes the most sense to me. That's the only thing. But I think that convergence happened many eons before Breath of the Wild. like 10,000 years before Breath of the Wild could have been the occur. Like, I don't know if there's even one specific event, but we know the timeline gets split apart. And then that convergence, I think, personally happened years before Breath of the Wild, or before even Link or Zelda was born. And of course, like, the existence of both Zora and Rito would be accounted for there. Because there's the outcomes of both of all three timelines kind of coming together. You have things like the Hylian language itself, like the written language that you see on like signs and stuff, is specifically the Hylian script from A Link Between Worlds, not the Wind Waker or Twilight Princess Hylian. You've got loads of architectural landmarks and things like that. You have references from Zelda that reference all three timelines, like when she's doing the Master Sword ceremony speech. So yeah, I think there's lots to point towards it. And so in order to pick one timeline, you have to like intentionally ignore evidence about another one. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of why I think that that timeline convergence, the Dragon Break, happens. And if people are like, "Oh, that could never happen in Zelda," that doesn't make any sense. Well, first of all, it's fiction. It's it's a fiction where a giant fart cloud monster pig took over a bunch of machines and killed everyone. Anything could happen. But also, it has happened. Like, timeline convergences have happened in Zelda games before. Two great examples are, first, the ending of Majora's Mask. Spoilers for a game that's 22 years old. In the ending of Majora's Mask, that game plays around with time travel shenanigans like crazy. And in each time you reset time, you do different side quests, and then you can like get different events to happen. But when you finish the game, the credits roll. All of the outcomes of the side quests and dungeons that you've finished happen in those credits. Like, all of the consequences of Link's actions, even though he's been resetting time and going back and doing it, they all happen. So it has to have been a timeline convergence, right? And then another good example is the end of Skyward Sword. Again, spoilers, sorry, for a game that's 11 years old. In the end of Skyward Sword, you get the Triforce. You wish on the Triforce to eradicate Demise. The goddess Isle plummets to Earth. You kill Demise in the present day. Game should end then. Then Girahim shows up, kidnaps Zelda, goes back in time. You follow him back in time and kill Demise in the past. So that should have caused a paradox in which none of the game should have happened then, because Demise was dead the whole time. But both happened. When you return to the present, everything still happened. Everyone still remembers the Goddess Isle is still on the surface. So you killed Demise twice, and both happened. So it has to be a timeline convergence. So, like, what's true then? Because, like, if you killed him in the past, you shouldn't have fought the imprisoned 3 times, right? Girahim shouldn't have been trying to resurrect Demise the whole time, because he's already dead. But it still all happened. It's still all real. You still created the Master Sword in that game. You still got the Triforce and did all those battles. Timeline convergence is the only explanation for the ending of Skyward Sword and Majora's Mask. And so that's why when people are like, that makes no sense, timeline convergence, time travel doesn't work that way. Well, actually, it does in Zelda. That's exactly how it works. It happens all the time. So, yeah, I think that it's a solid explanation. It's the cleanest explanation for Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild's timeline placement, because in order to pin it down to one timeline, you have to ignore evidence for the other. But if there's a convergence, then everything's accounted for. And you don't have to be willfully ignorant to some other evidence. So that's my rambling. I've talked a lot, but thank you for giving me a platform to ramble, Jessie.
Yeah, the thing that I would like to add is, in interviews leading up to Breath of the Wild, and even after, 𝗷𝗵𝗲 said that he was heavily influenced by Skyrim And
True.
in Skyrim, the way its timeline, before Skyrim begins, its timeline literally does the same thing, because the Elder Scrolls game before Skyrim has different endings.
Well, it goes actually farther back. It's right. Skyrim is Elder Scrolls 5. It's the ending of Elder Scrolls 2, Daggerfall.
Yes,
that has like 12 endings or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Morrowind, the third Elder Scrolls game, is the one where that Dragon Break, that's where the term comes from, happened.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yes. So it's like their explanation was like, okay, if you played number 2, Elder Scrolls 2, now you're playing Elder Scrolls 3, what do we do about history? Like, since we had this game that had multiple endings, do we just pick one and say that's the canon ending? Or do we just not talk about it at all, even though it's like a big deal? So their explanation was, because of the scale of the events and the catastrophic events of it, there was a time flux that occurred, and all possible outcomes of those timelines converged and all occurred, causing a war to happen but also not happen, and things like that. And that's why you have inconsistencies with things like that. So yeah, big brain time. Big brain. That's
and
my...
on Nintendo's... I don't really think you can take too much from this, but it is interesting, I thought. I don't know if it's still there, but on
it's not
Zelda's
anymore.
official Japanese website, it has like a timeline with each game going all the way down, and like it splits into the 3 timeline as the games go down, and then there's like a line that goes across all 3, and then there's just
Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Yeah. So on their website, it's not there anymore. But yeah, on their website, it had Breath of the Wild at the end of all 3 timelines.
Mm-hmm.
And you could like click on a timeline and then like scroll down to the bottom of it, and then it would have all the games in that timeline and then Breath of the Wild. And then you could click to the other timeline. It was the same thing, like all the games in that timeline and then Breath of the Wild at the bottom. So yes. Thoughts, food for thought there.
Yes. So,
food for thought.
Question from the mailbag on our Discord that you can join if you want to, everyone. Link in the description. Mercy asks or says, it's kind of a long one. Okay. People wonder why Nintendo has only released snippets of video for Tears of the Kingdom, and therefore leaving a bounty of mysteries to be resolved. Breath of the Wild has accumulated over 27.14 million units sold as of June 2022, and Tears of the Kingdom just recently received a release date. I believe that Nintendo is fully aware of YouTube being the theory capital of its game. Nintendo all along may have always been watching YouTube videos as these theorists work long and hard trying to figure out Nintendo's next gameplay. My question is, what is the possibility that Nintendo has had an ongoing front row seat to your videos all along and purposefully move things around just to keep you guessing? I think Nintendo is intrigued, and now Tears of the Kingdom isn't just about the mystery in the highly anticipated video content, but in the players that are also... What?
Highly anticipated.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, that's
video
just
content,
a pun.
but in the players that are also trying to strategize its game. Point. The player is being played. I also believe that after 27.14 million in sales, this is the beginning of a series of open world games that Nintendo is planning to continue.
All right, there are some good thoughts in there. The last one being correct. Nintendo, I think Aonuma has said in an interview that he loves the open world style of Breath of the Wild and wants to continue making games like that. Mm-hmm. So 100% hit the nail on the head there. I've mentioned this on a previous podcast, but I'll mention it again. And I seem to bring them up every week, so I'm sorry for the redundancy. I'm a big fan of, and I watch the Kit and Krista podcast.
Who?
And they are former Nintendo employees.
Oh, are they friends of yours?
No, they're just people I watch on YouTube. They were until earlier this year employees of Nintendo.
I thought you were going to say they used to be friends of mine.
I wish. No. After they left Nintendo, they started their podcast, and they talk a lot about behind the scenes stuff at Nintendo, because obviously that's like a interesting topic. I'm just going to shut my blinds because that afternoon sun is blinding. Anyways, so one thing they have mentioned on a previous episode of their podcast is that when they worked at Nintendo, they did keep an eye on all the YouTubers and stuff. They absolutely did. And they would be planning things like direct release dates and stuff like that. And they would be like, it's annoying how, because Nintendo really wants to surprise people. That's their big thing. They love to surprise people. So they said on record on their podcast, they found it annoying when they worked at Nintendo and they were trying to plan like a direct release date or something. And then Nintendo fans like us would accurately look at trends from previous years and be able to accurately predict directs, dates, and contents and things like that. And they would get annoyed because they really just want to surprise people. And so then they would not only monitor that, but like they would sometimes move things around their own schedule internally just because people were able to predict what their actual plans were. And so like that's legit a thing. 100%. That's at least something that happened while they worked there, which was very recently. So, and I'm not saying they watched us specifically, but who knows? They might have. But Nintendo also for sure has monitored like stuff like feedback on their games, because Breath of the Wild's feedback, like Breath of the Wild's whole concept of going open world was because when Skyward Sword came out, they were super proud of this product. They put out this game and it got torn apart online by people being like, it's too linear. Everyone was saying it's too closed off. It's too linear. The world design is too restrictive. And now I think Skyward Sword is a great game, by the way. But I see where that feedback comes from. So because that was what everyone was repeating online, Nintendo was aware of it and they decided to run with the feedback, which I think is a healthy thing to do, by the way. And that's how we got Breath of the Wild. So yeah. Also, people hated the motion controls. They said when they released Skyward Sword, they were like, we're not done with motion controls for like motion-based sword play. And then Breath of the Wild did not have motion-based sword play. So only gyro aim. So yeah, they absolutely are listening. Maybe not specifically to this podcast, but in general, they are listening. And they definitely are aware of this stuff, and they definitely do move things around because they want to surprise people, and they don't like it when we predict things correctly. Jessie, anything to add there? Please add something.
Yeah.
Please.
So Aonuma and Miyamoto and a bunch of people have mentioned that they do keep an eye on the fan base or whatever to see what they like and what they don't like. And even before YouTube was what it is now, they would still listen to feedback from almost anywhere they could get it. Like they completely changed the entire beginning of Twilight Princess based off of feedback from the dozen people that were able to play it at E3 that year. And then with Twilight Princess also, it was super, well, not super realistic, but it was as realistic as they could make it for the GameCube because of feedback from Wind Waker. And then Skyward Sword was so linear because Twilight Princess was so big but empty. And then, so yeah, like each Zelda game was based off of the feedback and everything from the previous Zelda game. And that goes all the way back to like Wind Waker until now.
And that's the thing too, is like they changed Twilight Princess like not just like the realism was like fully based on, they were making Wind Waker 2 and then everyone was like, I hate that's cartoony, cell shaded art style. And they're like, okay, well, we'll make Twilight Princess, and we'll change the whole art style of the game. Like, yeah, that's huge. Even though I think Wind Waker looks, I don't agree with that sentiment. I think Wind Waker's a beautiful game, but
And a similar thing happened. They didn't completely change to an entirely different game, but with Zelda Wii U to Breath of the Wild, there was the thing with the Guardian where they were shocked at how much everyone liked the Guardians. And
right.
That had to have been from all the YouTube videos specifically, because
yeah,
I remember at least at first it was a bunch of videos that was talking about it, and then there's been people from Nintendo that have messaged us and stuff or emailed us. So we know, obviously not Miyamoto or Aonuma, but we know that people from Nintendo, maybe not because Nintendo tells them to, but just because out of their own individual interest, we know that there are those people that watch our channel, which is how the whole thing happened where Nintendo broke my heart a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What a time.
And they sent Geek the Pokemon stuff.
Well, Pokemon does its own thing, though, as well. But
true.
But yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Should we take the next question?
Yeah. We should have invited Rick on whenever he first came in the chat.
Yeah, we should have. I'm sorry.
Do you think... Oh, yeah, here's a question from good old Rick. Rick, come on right now. Join the Discord and you can answer this question from 𝗏𝗵𝗃. It says, do you think the slowdown in sales of the Switch will hold back Tears of the Kingdom?
No. No, I do not. But that's me. What do you think, Jessie?
I don't understand why it would hold back sales of Tears of the Kingdom. I think it's like Switch sales slowed down because everyone already has one or two.
Right, it's like they now have a huge install base.
Yeah, so now they don't have to buy the $300 console to play the game. Yes, Rick, come on. We'll answer 2 more questions. You can join. We'll make potato soup.
You will make potato.
We will make potato. We will go harvest our spaghetti farm. It'll be a nice day. All right.
Yes.
Pick 2 more questions, Daniel.
Okay, you'll have to add him into
one more.
this call, though. This comes from MIBO. Oh. Is Ganondorf below the castle? Why would they need that big beast of a burden buffalo thing, aka an elephant, Jessie, just to go below? It seems to me Ganondorf is somewhere else. He might be below Typhlo ruins. So that's a good question. So regarding needing like a pack animal to carry gear, let's keep in mind the state Hyrule Castle was left in. There's nothing to say that he was that Link and Zelda are like staying at or living at Hyrule Castle after Breath of the Wild, because that whole place is like demolished, right? So if, for example, they were staying somewhere like Kakariko, then they would need to pack for the trip. Right? You know what I mean? That's just my thought. Castle is like everybody's first like gut instinct sort of thing, and often that's kind of correct. Also, hi Rick.
Hello.
Hello, friend.
Hello. My camera isn't hooked up for some reason.
Oh no.
But hello, thank you for having me on, guys.
Spur of the moment.
Yes.
Glad you could be here.
There, the echo should be gone. Sorry about that.
Where was that question at?
It was in the YouTube chat here.
Interesting.
Do you have any thoughts there?
Only that it is 100% an elephant.
It's an elephant.
It's an elephant. Yeah, an elephant. 100%.
Right.
You know what that comes from? The first analysis video.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That's an elephant for sure.
So then, like, after I said it, I just doubled down on it. Where like the what was it? There was someone that commented on one of the videos. I was like, "Why do you keep calling this an elephant?" I'm like, "That's the joke."
It's the joke going over everybody's head.
Like whenever I said "Tears of the," what was it? The one day I said "Tears of the Wild." Yeah.
I always bring this up, but there was that one time you and I, Jesse, were on the discussion video and we were talking about the sand seals in Gerudo Desert, and they ended up being sand seals, and everybody was getting mad that we were calling them seals because they were saying they were walruses.
Yeah.
So you never know, that might be an elephant, Jesse.
I mean, it could be.
That's true.
They call bats keys and snakes ropes.
When I first saw that trailer, and I was at Zelda Informer, right? And I was making an analysis video, and I much to everybody's chagrin, I consistently only called it the sand seal. I called it the jet ski walrus. I was like, that's what it is. Come on. Yeah. That also reminds me of when we saw that Life in the Ruins trailer for Breath of the Wild, and you actually see part of the cutscene with Rivali in that trailer. And I was like, oh, it looks like a Rito. And everybody was like, no, it's not a Rito, idiot, because his beak isn't right. And it doesn't look like how Rito looked in Wind Waker and all this stuff, right?
Yes.
And I was like, well, I don't know, because I mean, if a fish man can turn into a bird man, I don't see why a bird man couldn't turn into just a different kind of bird. So, and then guess what? Guess what? The Rito exists. Yeah, so he could be an elephant. And sand seals could be seals. You never know. Never know, Jesse.
I got so distracted by the elephant thing. I need to go and.
All right, there's a question from Natsu.
Oh, okay.
Mailbag 2.0. Do you think that the storm at Rito Village and malice spewing out of Death Mountain could serve as in-universe ways of explaining why the divine beasts are gone, as well as other stuff? That's a good thought. They had to it may be Ganon's way of getting rid of them, because, okay, let's... Ganondorf's a cunning dude, right? So the divine beasts shoot giant lasers directly at him, and that diminishes half his health. If he's going to make another move, he's got to get rid of those elements that are his weaknesses, right? Actually, Rick, didn't you make a video about Ganondorf's plans in the sequel potentially?
I did. It was quite a while ago, but just off the little bit of speculation that little bit of information that we've got, I formed a little bit of speculation to what he could be up to.
Right. I think I remember him trying to eliminate, basically get rid of Link's sword, the Master Sword, and Link's sword arm, because that's the one of the only weapons that can kill him. So you remove that element. That's just good cunning, good planning, right? Mm-hmm. And then getting rid of the divine beasts would absolutely be a good move then too.
That getting rid of the Deku tree also, or making it so he has to flee his location. Things of that nature.
Yeah. So taking control of them didn't pan out. So just get rid of them so they can't be used against him. Absolutely would make sense as a move that he's making. Yeah. Also, he's here. He's visible.
I am.
It's the Rick.
It's the man. Your hair's getting long, dude. I love it.
My room's a mess. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. Show us the hair, man.
Crazy Halloween. My hair is
look,
crazy.
It's getting long. I love it. I love it.
It's in that awkward phase right now, so.
It makes me proud.
I know exactly what you mean.
My goal is to have my hair as long as you, Jesse.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. I stopped growing my hair out because it's hard to maintain long hair. So I commend you guys. I commend you guys.
10 times easier if you use the right conditioner. But my answer to that question is, I think the sequel isn't happening immediately after Breath of the Wild. I think it's like a few days or a week or something. So by the time we see Ganon doing his malice thing, I think they've already put all of that tech stuff back up because they think he's gone, so we don't need these giant things like taking up space. And yeah, that's what I think. But
it also makes sense because, like, obviously the Guardians and Divine Beasts got turned against them, so maybe the thought is we need to like put these away so that Ganon can't use them again, like can't take control of them again and use them against us like he did last time. Because like, yeah, sure, they were able to get control of the Divine Beasts back, but like the Guardians were able to like raise Hyrule.
Yeah.
Like during the Calamity, he took control of the Divine Beasts, but he didn't do anything with them. He just like took them out of play, basically. And he left the Guardians to take over and completely annihilate Hylian civilization. So yeah. Someone rang my doorbell. It's probably the mail. You two continue though. Okay. I'll be right back.
Cool.
Okay. So my
hey Rick, how are you?
What's up? Good, you?
I'm great. For the people that may not know who you are, since you just joined a moment ago, why don't you take this as an opportunity to let them know about you and your channel? That way they can check out all of your Zelda stuff if they want.
I am Rick, otherwise known as 𝗏𝗏, and I make Zelda theories, countdowns, and guides over on YouTube, here on YouTube. And yeah, I make a lot of similar content to Jessie and the other Zelda YouTubers, but right now it's a little slow. Should be coming out with something new here pretty soon, though.
Don't worry. I haven't had an actual edited video on my channel in a couple of weeks, but I've been in the middle of like 5 different ones, so...
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on this? Daniel mentioned you had a video that was already talking about this.
Yeah, I think what you guys mentioned about the getting rid of the Divine Beasts and stuff like that makes a lot of sense. As we saw at the end of the perfect ending for the game with Link and Zelda, and they're going to Zora's domain to go and take care of Vah Ruta. I could see possibly like them having malfunctions, them getting rid of them, and then stumbling upon Ganondorf. Maybe it not being a thing to where they're like, oh, we need to put it away because he's still around, and maybe it's just we need to put them away because they're malfunctioning and they're not working properly, and that ultimately ends up with them not having the tools to utilize to actually fight back against Ganondorf there. But I also mentioned things like, you know, him taking out the Master Sword in that video as a key piece because, well, one, there's Zelda, and we see Zelda falling down that dark pit, so that could be possibly part of his thing, trying to separate the two things that can destroy him, and then taking out Link's arm to then put a handicap on him so he can't use a Master Sword. It's a really good move there. Targeting places like the Lost Woods where the Master Sword recharges is a really good thing on his part if that's what he's going for. and we can't actually see the Deku Tree in his normal spot in any of the trailers. So that's really weird. So either Ganondorf attacks the Lost Woods like he's done in the past, or he or the Deku Tree just notices, oh, the castle's floating, I need to get the heck out of here, and leaves. Stuff like that. I don't, with the little bit of trailer footage that we've gotten in information, there's not a whole bunch to gather there, but yeah.
The Deku Tree went on a search for one of the Ent wives. I think that's what happened.
He had to go find the rest of the lost Koroks. the other 900.
The other 900. Oh, no.
You found them this time, but I'll find better hiding spots. So, Rick.
What if in Tears of the Kingdom, what if you find that there's, instead of the deck tree, it's just a huge tree stump, like someone cut the tree down. And it's just this huge ass tree stump.
You see
like,
Bolton just standing there with an axe, like,
oh no. He got enough lumber to build a whole new town.
I had to expand.
Isn't the forest temple in Twilight Princess like a dead tree? Or that's cut down?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. There's theories. I think 𝗿𝗃𝗃𝗁 made a really, really good one about it being the inside of the previous Great Deku Tree or something like that.
Makes sense.
Rick, would you like to pick out a question from the chat?
Let me pull it up really quick. Computer's being a pain.
Super chat from Taker610.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Deku Tree gets spooked and leaves.
He got spooked. That's why we see those golden leaves in the wind.
Yeah.
Because he's running. He's running away. It makes sense now.
Let's see.
I think it could be a situation where like he disappears or something and then leaves a Deku Sprout in its place.
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
Or he could have been lifted up as well.
Emilio Martinez. Do you think the snow in the big snowstorm is mixed with malice? So it'd be kind of similar to the volcano with Death Mountain and the malice coming out of that. I could see that being a thing. Maybe it's like some type of curse that Ganondorf has put on different sections of Hyrule to make you go over there and, have to rid the land of the malice. I could honestly see Ganondorf's malice functioning more like the magic that Astor uses in Age of Calamity. Instead of it just being this goop that possesses things and stuff like that, like, because Ganondorf's an actual person this time around, he can utilize it in different ways. So maybe that's why we're seeing the volcano exploding or erupting, and then we have the snowstorm. Also, maybe at the very center, there's a big old ball of malice that's producing the snowstorm or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or very similar to the Blights. I mean, they all have elemental abilities, so it could just be another offshoot of them.
The curse in Majora's Mask that makes it snow in where the Gorons are.
Oh, okay.
So it could be like that. So, yeah. I think you have a good idea there, Rick.
Interesting thought too. I don't think they'll go the Blight route, but if they did something similar, I would love to see. Yeah, right. 4 of the same bosses again. No, please. But like something similar could be like a Phantom Ganon coming back as well, and sort of a malice Phantom Ganon deal. Some sort of hybrid of that, of those ideas.
Wind Waker Phantom Ganon.
Yeah, definitely need some more variety, though. You're right.
Yes. Yes. It's because like I've been obviously replaying Breath of the Wild for like video purposes.
Mhm.
And then I was like fighting Monk 𝗵𝗲 for the champions ballot, and I was like, oh my god, it's so refreshing to fight a boss fight that's not just the blights. You know?
Yeah.
That boss fight's so good. And part of why it's good is because it's so different. So variety is good. Please, just variety.
Or even Age of Calamity and the different elemental enemies. It was like, okay.
It was
cool for a second.
Yeah. It brought a bit of an element of like, okay, this is different, this is cool, but then it's like, well, these are still guardians though. They're just it's just a lightning guardian now and a fire guardian.
Yeah.
But they're still guardians. Yeah. So
that's what
yes.
Age of Calamity, you probably remember it, Daniel. There was a few times when we were talking about DLC for Breath of the Wild before we knew what the Champions Ballad was, where I said that they should have had the blights instead of being like different versions of blight Ganon. It should have been those blights or whatever taking control of the different champions. So like possessing
and
them
then
like
they had
do with
hollows.
Zelda. And then they put it
Age of
in.
Calamity.
Yeah, they did exactly that in Age of Clams, and I'm like, they stole my idea, even though they probably working on it.
It's a little
before
different because it's like it is a little different because the blights aren't like possessing the champions. It's just like an imitation of the champions almost.
It's like Shadow.
Yeah, exactly. That's that. So the hollows were like a little different, but like you're so right. Like that would have been such a cool boss fight to have. Like instead of Fire Blight, you have to fight Daruk, who's possessed, and it's like.
Almost
like no, this guy was my friend, you know, like
what was his name?
It would have been
Darbus
tragic.
In Twilight Princess.
Yes, Molten Goron.
They should have leaned into that with Breath of the Wild. They should have totally leaned into that.
Like that would have been so cool, and like made those boss fights like imagine you have to fight Mipha. Like that would be heartbreaking, you know.
Like
Rivali would be fine, but but the others, like
if the first half it looked like them, but like a darker version, and then it became a weird corrupted version. Like whenever the shards of Twilight or whatever would touch certain characters in Twilight Princess, it would turn them into something looking a lot different.
Yeah, or there's also. Again, Age of Calamity.
Never heard
spoilers,
of it.
but there is the fight where Tarako, aka everybody's favorite egg, gets corrupted by Malice briefly, and you have to fight him. And that's like so. It's like no, I don't want to I don't want to crack that egg. That's no, don't make me do it. That was so sad, man. Like, yeah. So that would have been really cool. If only in another world, in another universe, we got that instead of the blights.
Dinky King wants to know if we will have multiple endings in Tears of the Kingdom, or if we will have as many amiibo as Breath of the Wild. I think we'll have the same amount of amiibo. Like I mentioned earlier, the 4 or 5 that I think we would get, which is both versions of Link in the new tunic, with the weird arm, and then again with the green Triforce tunic, and then short-haired Zelda and Mummy Ganon, and maybe amiibo of the other champion people, the new sages or whatever they're going to be called. What about you guys?
Would be cool.
Multiple endings, amiibo.
I think if they do the multiple endings, it'll be the same as like Breath of the Wild technically had like a true ending kind of thing, but it was just like an extra scene if you had gotten certain completion. Just because if they have like 2 completely different endings, then you kind of muddy the water for a sequel. Do you know what I mean? That's my thought. Amiibo stuff we already kind of talked about, so I'll pass it off to Rick.
I feel the same way about the multiple ending thing. Not much else to say there. However, for the amiibo, I'm sure you guys have already talked about it, but I have a feeling we'll probably get more, maybe 1 or 2 more. We'll probably get, all the ones that you mentioned with Link and Zelda and Ganondorf, and then I'm thinking maybe one if we get a Loftwing. God, please. But I mean, we kind of already have the Zelda Loftwing amiibo, so I don't know about that. Maybe the new enemy, kind of like a Guardian. We could see maybe like 2 or 3 of those because we got the Bako, we got the Guardian, and I think there's one more, if I'm not mistaken.
There's.
I don't have.
They're right behind me. Let's see. So you've got Archer Link, Horseback Link, Bokoblin, Zelda, Guardian, and the Champions. Okay. So actually, that's a lot of them. That's a lot of amiibos.
Yeah, it's a pretty good amount. But and the then 2 enemies,
Link if you count that.
Yeah,
that
we'll
was
probably
like
get
compatibility.
Like 2 enemies, and maybe 3 because they'll fit Ganondorf's slot just for his amiibo alone, and then maybe we'll get like that golem looking thing. Maybe that will be an amiibo. If it's going to replace the place of the Guardians or something of that nature. And then maybe another version of a Bako with a freaking horn or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then again, I would think that they're going to try not to make the other amiibo redundant. So I don't know.
Do you want to take the super chat, Daniel?
True. Yeah, Taker 610. Thank you for the super chat. Zora King literally chucks a Guardian off a cliff with his bare hands, then lets his tiny daughter go off to fight the Calamity. Good luck, honey. he had too much faith in her. This is true. These events happen. Actually, I'm not sure if it's in that order. When Dorephan famously fought the Guardian and got like the scar that everybody kind of fixated on, is that after post Calamity? I want to say it is post Calamity.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I'm pretty sure that would be post Calamity. So yeah, but that's a very funny thought.
Especially to have a hostile Guardian, like
yeah,
it's got to be after.
It is still funny to think that the man just like threw a Guardian,
right?
Like he just yeeted it.
They're over here like we need a Hylian to fight this guy. Why don't you just get the Zora that can chuck Guardians with one hand?
Just start throwing Guardians at the Divine Beast until it goes down.
Oh,
he comes back from Hyrule Castle and he's just dragging a bunch of Guardians by the legs.
Even Sidon, didn't he take out that giant Octorok or something like that too?
That's true. He did. Yeah. He was like, he got swallowed by it and he killed it from the inside out, which is like grotesque but awesome.
Just feed him to Dark Beast Ganon. Like, here. He'll drill his way out.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Oh, poor Sidon. That's going to backfire.
Right.
Well, then he's going to become the next Blight.
Who's the next Blight? You?
Sidon.
Oh, no.
Sidon.
That would break too many people's hearts.
It would. That would be more tragic than the egg fight.
Daniel, what if you pick the next question and then Rick picks the final question? And then we say our buys.
Okay. Let's see what we got
final
here.
Chance, anyone?
There's a few
in the chat. Post your question.
Okay. This is kind of a 2-part. Keeper of Light asks, do you think now that Death Mountain is extinct, or I assume like extinguished, like it's not erupting, there will be areas where there used to be lava? I can imagine that so many new caves could become accessible. I was also surprised that Malice only comes out of the crater and nowhere else on Death Mountain. I think because Malice also comes out of Death Mountain, there may be an underground connection. So that's a good thought. I do think that that's part of how they're going to like add new explorable areas, because there's the whole caldera and all those areas that are filled with lava. If they're no longer, completely filled up, then yeah, there could be new ground or new like cave entrances, things like that added there, which would be really cool. Like, especially if you got to explore, like you go inside like Fire Temple or some other cool old locations or something. I don't know. Just a thought there. Or a new Fire Temple. I don't know. But yeah, I think an underground connection makes sense, because inside Death Mountain historically has had, like caves or facilities inside of it. There's the Fire Temple, like I mentioned, but like even in Zelda 1, that's where Ganon's lair was inside Death Mountain. So I could definitely see there being a connection there. What do you guys think? Tell us your thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. The thing with Death Mountain is, and I just did a video on this for the 7 Natural Wonders of Hyrule. And the thing with the Death Mountain is that it had a centralized cone before. So it was one huge mountain volcano, and then it collapsed in on itself. So, which caused the second cone to come up. I'm probably not explaining it the same way I explain it in the video, but just off the top of my head, lava was to recede just because of that. I don't know. It would be nice to see like revisit like the Fire Temple or something like that inside of there, but because it collapsed, I bet you all of those buildings and things have been destroyed, so it'll probably go a new route. But yeah, has a lot of potential.
Goron City from Ocarina of Time is destroyed. That's canon now.
Yeah.
It's destroyed.
It's gone.
Makes sense. Makes sense though. Why they all like now their city is an outdoor one instead of in a cave, Yeah,
and you can actually see it kind of take an evolution from Ocarina of Time to Twilight Princess. That's why it looks all screwed up. At least my headcanon, because that's kind of how it ends up the way it is in Breath of the Wild. Death Mountain Twilight Princess looks like a big old giant fiery marshmallow thing that's melted. So I think that's the caldera or the centralized cone collapsing in on itself, and then it reformed the new cone we see in Breath of the Wild. But that's I'm getting outside the realm of the topic here.
An interesting thought with that though is that would imply, not necessarily like in terms of in-game models, because obviously like Ocarina of Time is just like smaller geographically than, even though it's supposed to be the same Hyrule. But that would imply that the Death Mountain in Ocarina of Time was way bigger than the one in Breath of the Wild then, because it's like that whole that bigger cone, like that extent. The new cone is inside that. There's the whole caldera around it. So it's like a smaller, ironically, mountain.
Yeah, smaller mountain.
Even though it's an actual bigger one. It's canonically smaller, even though it's literally larger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting thought. But go on. Sorry, please. You were going to say.
Go ahead, Jesse. I'm done with my...
Oh, no. I was just going to say that's interesting. I haven't thought about like the full size of the different mountains.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Have you found a question, Rick?
I'm still looking.
Is there one to find?
Maybe not.
Maybe there might not be.
We could have answered all of them, if that's possible.
It could be.
What games are you playing this week, Daniel?
Like just on my own time, or streaming? Because those are different answers. I've just on my own time. I've been playing a lot of obviously Splatoon, but I've been playing Tunic actually, and it's really good. It's you kind of boot up the game and you kind of expect like a Zelda clone, sort of like Zelda-like game, but it's in, you get this little cute little fox character and you're like, this is going to be a cozy, fun little adventure. And then it's like Dark Souls.
Did you?
It's hard. It's hard.
I've heard it can be challenging.
It's hard and cryptic, and I love it. Great game. Really great game.
Did you see any of the games that I posted in the podcast group about with the codes and stuff?
I wasn't sure about getting some of those. I haven't gone in to check any of them out, to be honest. But
there was one that looked kind of fun. I might check it out.
Oh, yeah, you should.
I asked for 2 codes for it because I usually just give the codes to you guys, but I asked for 2 on one of them because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, man. Don't just give me the codes. You gotta play the games too, man.
Yeah, it looks like we've answered most of these.
Okay, I have a question for you guys then.
All right.
All of Link's outfits in Breath of the Wild has its own bonus attribute. What do you imagine the green and white Triforce robe thing will have?
Okay, so you know how in Breath of the Wild the ancient soldier's armor that you get from Robbie gives you it's called Guardian Resist Up, which is like resistance to basic Guardian attacks, and then you get Ancient Proficiency with the set bonus, right? So imagine that, but instead of Guardian resistance, it's resistance to attacks from ancient Zonai magic. So like that golem thing that we see, for example, looks like it's powered by that same green energy. So it's like resistance to that type of magic, perhaps. That's just a thought. Yeah, and then maybe like if there's a set bonus involved with it, maybe it could be like a reduced cooldown rate to use the magic with your spirit hand. Or something like that. That's just a thought. Total spitballing thought, but that would be cool. Yes.
Yeah, I could see it being something similar where like the pieces to the set do something like maybe resistance to, let's say, like maybe there's dragon enemies in this game or some type of lizard type of enemy that's up in the sky, and it gives you like either resistance to them or an attack buff to damage them further, more so than you would other enemies. And then the same thing with like maybe having like a set bonus where it increases your magic meter or the, like you said, the cooldown to those effects for the hand. I could see it playing a huge role with that hand though. Link's Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jesse?
I agree with you guys because the only thing that we really know about the outfit itself is that it has the Triforce symbols on it, and with the ability like the time reversal coming from Link's hand where he normally has the Triforce symbol and it's shining that golden light, it sort of has that connection to it. But I could also see it being something simple, like just a simple +5 attack or something, and not really have an actual effect, but would be nice.
Yeah.
If it did.
What if it's a climbing bonus or no slip?
Oh god.
No slip in the rain. That's
they got to make one with gloves and freaking like the spike boots for climbing like that. So then you just don't slip at all.
There's like literally the climbing gear in Breath of the Wild, and that's what it should have done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'd take that over climb speed.
So deceiving.
Any day. Yeah.
We actually do have a final question here. Do you want to read it quick?
Yeah. Let's see. Do you think the Champion's Tunic will still show enemies HP, or do you think it will have a new bonus?
Yes.
And that actually, I'll combine that with the question I was going to ask you guys.
Okay.
Do you think with that, that because Link has his new Champion's Tunic, Hylian Tunic mixture, do you think we're going to be able to also hot swap different pieces of armor and put them together?
Yes.
Similar to that. Not so much like Breath of the Wild where you can, put one piece of armor on your chest and then your head, but more so that they're combined pieces and it will give you a different type of effect from adding them together.
I kind of mentioned something like that earlier with Daniel when we were talking about the different gauntlets that Link has. We were debating on whether or not the new version of the gauntlets that we see Link wearing in the new trailers is just a simple redesign where they got tired of the old look and they just simply redesigned it, or if it is an actual second gauntlet that you obtain later on in the game. Because the first one's kind of bland, and then the new one has like all the symbols of the Hylian Knights or whatever. And yeah, I think that would be interesting. Like if you could go from like just leather pads to actual metal armor or golden armor or silver armor or whatever. Or if you could just get like, for example, if you just had completely naked Link, but he's wearing just the metal armor, not the actual outfit, but just the armor from the Zora tunic. So like you can mix and match the armor or like the secondary pieces from some costumes or sets with your primary set. So like you'd have the primary and then the secondary function. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I do think that it'll still show enemy HP. I think that's just like, it'd be weird to like remove the feature. But yeah, I think that would be cool. And they could even add a bit of depth to it to say where like, if you have it as like you said, a primary and a secondary ability or buff or something, that the secondary one is less effective than the primary one. And then if you were to change it around differently, whatever the primary one is more effective, right? So like say you had your examples like the Zora tunic pieces, and then it gives you like swim speed up, but as a secondary one, because you're just using some of the armor pieces, not the actual tunic. And then, but if you swapped it and you had the main tunic pieces and then like other stuff, then that swim speed buff would be more effective. So you could have a secondary one, but it might not be as effective depending on what you're combining it with, or if how much of it you have combined, maybe. But I think that would be cool. I would like more depth to the clothing customization, and like having maybe like pauldrons and gauntlets and boots in addition to like pants and tunic and headgear, like as all different options would keep it really interesting, I think. Especially if they all had different stats, right? So, and also it would look cool as hell. So yes. Yes, definitely. Okay. Please, Nintendo, please.
Yeah,
please.
I think it would work really well for the game. They can even like incorporate it into the dye shop where you go to him to go mess with your armor. Or maybe even the Great Fairy Fountains. I mean, they already serve that purpose with upgrading. So you could have them hot swap different parts of the armor and stuff like that. Me, myself, for the main question, I would really like to see them remove the HP effect from the armor and slap it onto Link himself. Even though I know a lot of people are going to dislike this opinion that I have, I think it's time to give Link a leveling system of some sort, so then he can have different abilities. We've seen it they've kind of tested it out with the runes and upgrading the runes and having the abilities there. I think it's time that they start giving Link a little bit more of a personalized touch for all of us. So like your Link could have different abilities than my Link or whatever. And you could add that to the roster of his abilities. You know, you just level 1 Link gets HP, gets to be able to see people's HP like in Kingdom Hearts or something. Or you could even have it to where they're unlocked abilities and then you have a deck list or whatever. It's more like an RPG, but you have a deck list and then you can pick whichever abilities you want on Link for that.
Or even like just a skill tree where you unlock
even a skill tree.
Things. So, kind of a thought as well that I just thought of regarding the clothing customization. Just pivoting back to that. Nintendo had that patent where like to prevent clothing from like clipping through each other and stuff like that. And I feel like the way that patent would work would be useful for if we're able to layer different clothing options, right? And not have those look weird or clipping through each other. So I think that just makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like they might already be working on it. So that might have been why they decided to make that patent, because they were maybe playing around with the concept, but different pieces of armor would like clip through each other because they weren't made initially to work together, and so they made a system to make sure everything just works properly in conjunction with each other. But
yeah,
kind of adding on to what you were saying, right? Like a skill tree or something, I think is a good way to do it, because like if you start getting to some of those like nitty gritty RPG mechanics, they're good mechanics. But then I feel like there's, for Zelda, a certain level of, I want to say like simplicity that they want to have for how your character works, and I feel like a skill tree is almost like a compromise there to keep it sort of understandable.
Yeah,
for people.
It's like in the middle of the like Dark Souls number tab that they have, and then the skill tree. Best of both worlds, I guess.
Yeah, an easy way to do it. Yeah. Jesse, any thoughts there? You've been quiet.
No, I like the idea. I think I don't know. You guys pretty much just said it all. So
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It means you have good answers if I agree with you. I think.
Oh, good.
I think that's what that means, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But the patent thing makes a lot of sense. I know it makes it seem like it's more so that Link's cape doesn't clip through the sword and shield or whatever, or at least that's what it makes it seem like in the patents. But it could also make perfect sense for like how he has the bracer over the arm bracelet thing, or like the armor plate over top of that way you don't see the thing that's wrapped around his wrist poking through the actual armor on top of it. So I was thinking
like if you're swapping like a shoulder pauldron out, then like you're not going to have the tunic clip through that pauldron or something. But yeah, like
each secondary armor accessory or whatever will just like snap onto the main outfit without looking weird or clipping through.
Yeah. Food for thought.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all is that all the questions?
I think so.
Cool.
I think so.
Wait, really quick. Item durability. Yes, no. I think the correct answer is blacksmith.
Yes.
Yes. I think the system is good. It just needs a little bit more depth to it in terms of repairs or building things or crafting even. Like if there was no way to repair it, but you could craft a weapon, then, So yes. Correct answer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Rick, you first. where could people possibly, maybe, perhaps find you when Daniel doesn't have either of us locked in his basement?
Well, since YouTube came out with its new handles, I wasn't able to get the @RMFH, but you can find me on all social media at @RMFH Gaming. I know it's a little hard. I'm thinking about changing it here pretty soon, but we'll see.
I can't believe they didn't let me have RMFH.
Somebody else snagged it. I think it was this
imposter.
other girl that has the same name as me, but
Imposter.
Challenge her to a game of Smash Bros. The winner takes the
Battle
name.
in Smash.
that's a possibility.
If people were to type in this, so-called @RMFH Gaming, what could they possibly perhaps find?
You guys can find Zelda theories, countdowns, and guides over on my channel. Basically talk about anything Zelda related.
And is there any upcoming videos that people could look forward to, or an upcoming live stream?
I'll leave the live stream stuff out, but an upcoming video, I do have a countdown, Breath of the Wild themed countdown coming out within the next month or so.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Yeah, Daniel,
Yeah.
you just posted the link to Rick's channel. Thank you.
Thank you, Cap.
I thought I'd just throw that in the chat there.
So Daniel, what's up with you? Where can people find your stuff? Your home videos?
I actually posted the wrong link, apparently.
Did you?
That was weird.
Shame.
Apparently, I thought I literally opened a new tab and copied the link. That's the one now. For some reason. Oopsie, sorry about that. I linked back to the stream that they're already watching.
Nice.
I opened a new tab to get the URL and then accidentally copy the link from... Anyways. That's the one. Ignore me. Please, I'll just revoke that one. Just gonna retract.
So Daniel, where can people find your home movies?
Yes, everything for me is at 𝗵𝗲𝗛𝗆. I was able to secure that YouTube handle, so that's the good news. So yeah, everything's 𝗵𝗲𝗛𝗆, 𝐶APTBURGERSON. Links are actually in the description of the video here if you guys wanted to. And I also make Zelda videos, mostly Zelda dungeon related videos. And I've got one that premieres this Friday. Going to be looking at the final trial. That's the 5th divine beast, if you will, the 𝗵𝗃 trial in that video. So if you ever wanted to sit down and listen to somebody nitpick and complain and praise and critique a single level of a video game for half an hour at a time, go check out my channel. They are top notch. They are top notch. Thank you.
You can also
I'm pretty happy with them.
You can also see Daniel doing daily streams of Majora's Mask 3D and praising
definitely
its
not.
changes.
No, but I do stream, but not daily. So, but I am actually streaming Majora's Mask, but not 3D tomorrow. So there's a half truth in there.
We want banana streams, Daniel.
Yes, banana streams are coming. I will just be streaming. I'll just be broadcasting images of bananas. Yes. Jessie, yourself.
Suggestion? Wear either a banana suit or at least your banana shirt.
I do have a banana shirt that I wear pretty often. So it's a subtle pattern.
Making things happen.
I want to say thank you to the Patreon supporters really quick. Hyrule Heroine, Sean Singer, Retro Guy Gaming, Wrecker1, only donated to hear Jessie speak my name, but then they don't put their name, so I don't know. Tremail Shefford, Jean Penna, Disappointment, spelt MINT, Joseph Stewart, SOBERX, Mr. Monocled Metroid, which I think is just Daniel in disguise because it has Metroid in the name, David Guthman, Zoe M, NATSU, Andremore, Justin Clark, Candy, Chad Costin, Larulian Sheep, Monica Spath, Shadow to Us, Rusty Caulfield, Lovable Christie, Gus Calvo. Thank you all. Is there more? Nope, that was the last one. Cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank
Just
you all.
like your hair.
No, look at Rick's hair.
This is
Also
a mess.
beautiful.
And then
It's
look at your
greasy and
hairline.
nasty.
Beautiful mess.
Even Harry Potter would be jealous.
Oh my. Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Pretty sure. We hang out sometimes on
I just want to say
Saturdays.
thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, thank you
with
for
such
jumping
short
on.
notice and everything. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We love you. You know it. Don't deny it.
Nice.
Yes.
I could
Beautiful.
I would do that, but I don't have fingers, so.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. All right,
What'd you do with his fingers, Daniel?
Oh, he only
It's
lets.
complicated.
Yeah,
I was trying to build a second Jessie, so I needed parts. Double the Jessie, double the videos. That's what I thought.
Tigger says Jessie should play an elf in Rings of Power Season 2. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
No.
You should.
When's
Oldest
our
daughter
Zelda
work-
TV show coming out?
Well, the Netflix show got the plug pulled on it, so
Yeah, that ties into what you mentioned earlier, Daniel, about the spoilers, because Miyamoto was like, nope, people.
someone leaked it.
Yep.
So spoilers, pulled the plug.
Yeah, and then
When's
Netflix
Chris
was
Pratt
probably
gonna play
like,
Link?
Yeah, Netflix was probably like, but we already spent $1 million making these puppets and paying these writers.
Right.
All right,
Legit.
everyone, thank you for tuning in. There's
Sure.
Daniel. His links are in the description. There's Rick. We will have his links added to the description. I'll just tell future Jessie to do that. And thank you all for tuning in, watching. And maybe there'll be more news next week. And I'll also try to have a quiz.
Ooh, more Kahoot.
Yes, and maybe a guest as well.
Yes.
Right.
Cool.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.